Tom Reeves pushed the broom across the hangar floor at Fort Campbell, moving slowly to make the work last. At 52, with a bad back and hands that shook from old injuries, he was grateful for any job. The young pilots barely noticed him as they walked past. Tom was just the janitor, invisible, forgettable. He'd been a warrant officer once, an Apache helicopter pilot with 18 years of service. Then came the crash during a training exercise. Tom survived with a broken back, nerve damage, and a medical discharge. His wife left 6 months later. Tom spent 2 years drinking before clawing his way to sobriety and this job sweeping floors, where he used to fly. The alarm went off just after 0900. Emergency deployment. A Black Hawk had gone down in the mountains. Crew injured, weather deteriorating. Tom watched as pilots scrambled and two Apaches were prepped for escort. Then he heard it, the sound that made his blood run cold. The whine of a starter failing, the cough of an engine that wouldn't catch. The left Apache wasn't starting. What happened next would prove that some skills never disappear, no matter how far you fall. If you've ever been dismissed or overlooked, stay with me. Maintenance crews swarmed the Apache, frustrated. Fuel systems good, electrical checks out. I don't understand why it won't start. Every minute delayed was a minute the Black Hawk crew waited for rescue. Colonel Matthews watched, tense. How long to troubleshoot? The crew chief shook his head. Could be 30 minutes. Could be 2 hours, sir. Tom walked closer, broom forgotten. He knew that sound. He'd heard it once before in Afghanistan. Not fuel, not electrical. It was the gas producer shaft. A rare issue, easy to miss. He stood at the edge, invisible as always, watching them check all the wrong things. Then Colonel Matthews's eyes landed on him. You, janitor. This is restricted. Step back. Tom should have stepped back, but pilots were gearing up to rescue soldiers who might die if help didn't come. Tom took a breath. Sir, with respect, I think I know what's wrong. The colonel stared. You're a janitor? Tom nodded. Yes, sir. I'm also a former Apache pilot, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Thomas Reeves. Medically retired, 18 years flying this aircraft. And that sound. It's the gas producer shaft bearing. You're wasting time. The maintenance crew turned. The colonel's expression shifted. You flew. Apaches. Tom nodded. If I'm wrong, you've lost 2 minutes. If I'm right, you've saved 30. The colonel looked at his crew chief. Check the gas producer shaft bearing. Now. 3 minutes later, the chief's voice came back. Shocked. He's right. The bearing seized. How did you hear that? Tom felt something familiar. Confidence, he'd thought, was gone. You learn to recognize every sound these birds make, Chief, especially the bad ones. The crew chief grimaced. We'd need to replace the entire assembly. That's ours. Tom stepped closer, or bypass it temporarily. Not safe for extended flight, but for a rescue mission, it'll hold. I can talk your crew through it. 5 minutes. Maybe 10. Tom found himself back in his element, directing the crew with precision and knowledge from 2 decades. His hands might shake too much to fly, but his mind still held every system. 9 minutes later, the Apache roared to life. Both helicopters lifted off toward the mountains. If you've ever felt your expertise doesn't matter anymore, share your story. Because competence doesn't expire. Experience doesn't disappear just because life knocked you down. Colonel Matthews approached. Chief Reeves, why the hell are you pushing a broom when you have that knowledge? Tom looked down. Because I can't fly anymore, sir. Medical discharge. And I needed a job. The colonel was quiet. Can you still teach? Consult on maintenance? Pass on what you know? Tom looked up, surprised. I suppose so, sir. The colonel pulled out his phone. We have a civilian contractor position open. Technical advisor for the Apache program. It pays 3 times what you're making. Your knowledge is valuable, Chief. It just saved lives today. It could save more. By end of day, Tom had a new position. Technical advisor, maintenance, consultant, someone whose experience mattered again. That evening, as Tom packed his broom for the last time, a young pilot approached. Sir, I heard what you did, diagnosing the problem from across the hangar just by sound. That's incredible. Tom smiled. That's experience, Lieutenant. You'll have it too. And remember, knowledge doesn't disappear just because your body can't do what it used to. Your value doesn't end when your flying days do. The rescue was successful. The Black Hawk crew came home safely. Tom's temporary fix held, just as he'd known it would. The next week, Tom started his new position, working with maintenance crews, advising on complex repairs, teaching younger pilots things you can't learn from a manual. Things that come from years in the cockpit, from mistakes learned from near disasters averted. In a world that discards people when they can't perform at peak physical capacity, Tom's story reminds us that experience and expertise are valuable at any age, in any condition. That the man pushing a broom might save lives if someone just bothers to ask his name. To see past the uniform he wears now to the one he wore before. If this moved you, look around. See the people society has made invisible. The older worker in the entry-level job. The veteran doing work beneath their skill level. The person whose body failed before their mind did. They have knowledge and value. They just need someone to recognize it. Tom swept floors until an Apache wouldn't start, and a colonel called his name. But he was valuable long before that moment. Thank you for believing our worth isn't determined by current circumstances, but by the totality of who we are and what we know. Everyone has a story, and sometimes the janitor is really a hero waiting to be recognized.